Brendan, I'm just curious, we all saw these headlines today, China opening this antitrust probe into Nvidia. To be honest, Brendan, there were some analysts who were saying, listen, they actually weren't surprised. When a company has 90% plus market share in a hot market, regulators do tend to come knocking. But I am curious what you made of that.
Well, I think we've seen similar anti-monopoly brought up against other Western companies in the past that usually leads to some sort of fine. It could be that maybe the Chinese policymakers picked up a copy of Art of the Deal and they're using a significantly widely held U.S. company that does a lot of revenue in China. More than 10% of Nvidia revenue is in China. Maybe this is one of their leveraging tactics going into what we believe will be fruitful negotiations between the U.S. and Chinese government to sort out some of the trade some of the trade deficit, some of the unfair practices maybe in China. So maybe this is a little bit of the art of the deal from the China side.
Do you think that when all is said and done, it is going to be more of a hit to U.S. companies that have a relationship in China or Chinese companies that sell into the U.S.?
I think ultimately U.S. companies with high China revenue have no beta, no correlation to a lot of the media headlines. And arguably, today is one of the first times you've seen a U.S. stock with high China revenue react to that news. But I think ultimately the U.S. needs China just as much as China needs the United States. Yes, China does export a lot to the United States. But again, a lot of those are inputs that go into higher end manufacturing. It's cheap, low cost goods. A lot of those goods have create a lot of pollution to create. So there's no appetite to bring any of that back. At the same time, U.S. multinationals generate more than $500 billion worth of revenue in China annually. There is no trade deficit if you add those revenues to explicit U.S. Exports to China. So I think it's just the two sides coming together. It's very clear, as President Trump said yesterday, that he's been in contact with President Xi. So I think ultimately the two sides coming together, all of these issues can be worked out because the two sides economically do need one another.
Brendan, always great to have you on the show and appreciate that insight. Thank you.